Hi and welcome. This is Writing with Little Mrs. Teach. I wanted to show you how to move your students from the brainstorming process over to the rough draft process. I do have videos on what the writing process is, as well as the brainstorming process. So you can view those videos prior. Otherwise, you can just join in. Please bear in mind, I will be moving my webcam around during this video just so you can see all of the content. So what is brainstorming? Brainstorming, it's the process of getting all the ideas out so that when your student does start writing, they have a nice flow to it and they're not getting stuck with what's next? What's next? I don't know what to write. So we want to try and improve that process and make it easy for students or your child to kind of go through the writing process. Not to say that they won't get stuck and that they won't have trouble with it. Some students do struggle with writing because it's a challenge, but hopefully this will just ease what the process is and some helpful tips to help your child. So today we're going to focus on moving your child from the graphic organizer over and starting to organize ideas for the rough draft. Tip number one, this process of moving from the brainstorming to the rough draft could take between 2 and 4 days. Oftentimes the writing process is thought of as a formula. We do this, we check it off, and each should be a day. But this process does take a lot, especially for students where writing is a struggle, whether it's just the activity of sitting down and writing, it causing strain because it's a lot of fine motor skills. It could take a while, and it's okay. It's good to take breaks. We want this writing process to be enjoyable for students and children, so you want to just support your child with this process, with the idea that we're working at it and we can make edits, we can go back and change things, and it's okay. It's not extra work. Another thing is to refer back to the graphic organizer and add to it. When your child starts writing or your student starts writing in their graphic organizer, they're not sure always how much they need to put in order to create a paragraph or even an essay or a story. So it's okay if they start writing, they're like, I ran out of stuff. I did everything on the graphic organizer and I only got this much. So it's okay to go back to the graphic organizer. What could we add here? And then add it to the rough draft, start organizing. So next, this is the web, and this is a very common graphic organizer. It's typically used for narratives. It could be used for research, papers or essays, and also for fictional stories. If your child is writing a story that they made up, this might be a good way to organize their thoughts. You could also use it for a summary of reading. So where my webcam is now might be the main idea or the title, and then on the outside, circles would be what your students would put details in, if it was that narrative, fictional story, what's happening during it. Are there characters, a setting? Is there the problem, solution? So this is a very common graphic organizer. You can find them online. You could also just draw them, but if your teacher is expecting something specific, they might have that resource for you. Next, we have the Foursquare, and this could typically be used for an explanatory essay. So if your student is trying to explain how to do something, they could use each box to explain the steps involved. You could additionally have your child use this for a summary with reading what happened in the story. You could take a piece of paper and fold it into fourths, and that would be your Foursquare as well. The next part is a problem and solution graphic organizer. There's a lot of different ones, and this is just one I created, but you have a problem and a solution, which your student or child might write, what the problem is might be, a couple words or a sentence. The solution might be a couple words or a sentence. Well, that's not a paragraph. So where are we going to get that additional information from? You're going to use reasons and supporting details. This graphic organizer could be used for an opinion essay or a persuasive essay. It could also be used if your child is citing information from a text. So if they're reading and they need text evidence, they might add it here. Wouldn't be problem and solution necessarily on top, but you could also kind of use something similar to this, main idea, supporting details from citing from a text. Okay, so before we go any further, a paragraph is typically defined as having 3 strong sentences. So your student in 3rd grade should be working to get 3 to 5 sentences in a paragraph. And within those 3 to 5 sentences, there should be an introductory, a couple sentences including details, and then also a concluding sentence as well. Depending on the type of style of writing that your student's working on, whether it be narrative, research, opinion, persuasive, explanatory, the format could change a little bit, or the style of the writing might be a little different. But a paragraph should have at least 3 strong sentences in 3rd grade. So here's just a visual framework of a 3-paragraph essay. If your child was writing an explanatory essay or an opinion essay, the introductory and concluding paragraph might be very similar. If they were writing a research paper, the introductory and concluding paragraph would be a little bit different. But the main paragraph is going to be where all the explaining is. Introductory, you're giving a sneak peek to your reader. You're introducing your topic. Your concluding paragraph, you're wrapping up what you wrote about. So what should be in these paragraphs? In sentence 1, you can create a hook, get your reader interested. And then sentence 2, you're going to introduce what it is you're writing about. Sentence 3 or 4, depending on how many sentences your child's writing, you'll want to share responses or reasons and ideas that you're going to be writing about in the main paragraph. So you're not explaining it all, you're just like maybe listing out what you're going to be talking about. Then your student would want to kind of summarize what it is they're writing about in that last sentence. The purpose of this paragraph, again, is to introduce the topic to the reader and give a little sneak peek or hint to what's coming up in the main paragraph. So in the main paragraph, you might use words like first, then, next, additionally, if it's a narrative, all of a sudden, all at once, to kind of keep that story going. So the main paragraph could change based on the style of writing, but in here you're going to expand on what it is you gave the reader a hint in the introductory paragraph. So you might want to include vivid details. You might want to add a little bit more description, elaborate more on what it is you're writing about. And students should be able to get at least 3 sentences. Oftentimes, once they start and understand how to elaborate, they could get more. And then the purpose of this is just to share that main idea or concern, depending on the style or content, the style of writing. The concluding paragraph in sentence 1, they're going to summarize the main idea. They are going to list what was covered and shared, and then conclude. Now, different styles of writing might have specifics to it, but this is just a general overview. So oftentimes the concluding paragraph might mirror what the introductory paragraph says, but it's not going to be exactly the same. Your student's going to just summarize what it is that they wrote about. So thank you so much for watching. Please continue to enjoy the videos and feel free to request in the comments if there's anything that you're looking